One has to ask himself, how did we get here? How has it gotten this far? How did we not see it coming? It's all around us, and yet people are not seeing it.
Lucifer, dawn of the morning, I'm gonna chase you out of earth. Lucifer, Lucifer, dawn of the morning. Lucifer, Lucifer, dawn of the morning, I'm gonna chase you out of earth. Lucifer.
This is the conspiratorial view of history, as opposed to the accidental view. And it is the conspiratorial view that we shall present in this program.
What is the good of having children who excel in an academic program that outlaws God?
Anarchistic, opportunistic, individualistic, it's chauvinistic, it's custoristic, and that's the bad part about it. It's custoristic in that its leaders take people into situations where the people can be massacred, and they call that revolution. And it's nothing but child's play, it's folly.
All public schools are bad.
I was trained to identify the resistors.
We think these people may be sincere, but they're misguided.
Right, no wrong. You've got to have all religions represented, so, tolerant of everything, and because that's the New World Order.
What you believe determines how you behave.
There's a method to their madness. There's really not much method to yours, because you're operating from a place of ignorance. And until you change that, you're going to be bumbling around, bumping into each other, saying and doing the wrong things, not understanding the nature of your enemy. And if you don't understand the nature of your enemy and the weapons they use, you cannot fight that enemy. You can't fight the battle. You shouldn't even be on the battlefield.
Lucifer, dawn of the morning.
My name is Charlotte Thompson-Iserbae, and I served as Senior Policy Advisor in the United States Department of Education under the Reagan administration, during which I had access to all of the most important documents for the restructuring of not only American education, but global education. And I'm also the author of The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America, which gets into all of this, gives the background of what I saw not only in the Department of Education, but as a local school board member. The resistors to the sex ed, drug ed, alcohol ed, suicide ed, death ed, those good, smart Americans who realize that anything that has education hanging off the end of it is probably not what they're looking for. I was trained to identify those good people and to go up against them, and actually to go and try to get them to join us through the group process system, make them feel important, get them on a committee. And when that just blew my mind. I have to say, people often ask me, what is it that got you involved in education? Well, finding out what I saw at the local level certainly upset me. When I went and I saw that Americans were being trained to identify resistors, then I got pretty upset. And luckily, there was a big book that came with the in-service training called Innovations in Education, A Change Agent's Guide. And I was able to take that back home with me. Unbelievable examples of how to con the Christians and different people who are upset with what you're trying to do, how to bring them over to your side. Case studies, true case studies of educators who had put programs in that normally, in a normal American town, nobody would want them. How did they manage to get them in? How did they con the people? And the other thing was, not only was I trained to identify the resistors, I was trained to go to the important people, high profile, highly thought of people in the community, with the Rotary and Chamber of Commerce, garden club, you name it, the different groups in our towns. Go to them and convince them of the importance of these new programs like sex ed, drug ed, I just mentioned all of them, and to get them on your side, because when you can get the leadership in a community to go along with it, then the newspaper comes in and says, you know, a committee's been set up with the head of the Rotary and this and that, and they're all getting behind this task force to discuss whether we're going to have a new sex education program. And then when Mary Jones, you know, who ordinarily would think, why would we want to have a sex education program when we don't have any problems with kids having sex or anything? So she might be you know, concerned. She might be one of the resistors. She reads that her best friend, who's the head of the garden club, is on this committee, and she thinks, oh, well, hey, Mary Appleton is on that committee. She's heading it up. It must be okay. So I was taught really how to con the community. They always call everybody by the first name. You have to get very, you know, affectionate with people, and you say, William, you know, I'm so glad you've come to this meeting, and I understand your concerns about this program because, you know, I've had other people, usually it's the really bright people in the community who have these concerns, and would you like to join our group? The original program was funded by what would subsequently become my office. It was funded by the Office of Research in the U.S. Office of Education, because it was funded early on, about the late 60s. Still funded, by the way. And the money went to the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor to a professor by the name of Ronald Havelock. And he was the one that put together the whole training, the whole seminar, the book. And in the back of the book you had, they admitted it, right in the back of the book, they had about 100 major change agents listed from all over the country. Some of them I recognize, some I still don't, but some I do. And so this was a very important project. And it was being, you know, it was being carried out in I'm sure, all over the country, not just where I was. This was in Searsport, Maine, this lovely little town on the coast of Maine, in the school there where the guy came in, the facilitator, not Professor Havelock, but a facilitator, to train us. And these were good people that were there. You know, they were some of the teachers from my school, where I was on the local school board, principals, etc. Normal-looking Americans. You know, you really ask yourself, they must themselves have reacted very much the way I did. That's why I've always had a lot of understanding for teachers that have to go through this stuff. I didn't have to continue going through it. They've had to, through the years, constant training, retraining, sensitivity training, break their values. Right, no wrong. You've got to have all religions represented, so, you know, tolerant of everything, and because that's the New World Order.
Nothing's more important than stopping fascism, because fascism will stop us all. If you ever think about me, and if you think about me, niggas, and if you ain't gonna do no revolutionary act, forget about me. I don't want myself on your mind if you're not gonna work for the people. Like we always did. If you actually make a commitment at the age of 20, and you say, I don't want to make that commitment on this because of the simple reason that I'm too young to die, I want to live a little bit longer. What you did already. You have to understand that people have to pay the price for people. You dare to struggle, you dare to win. If you dare not to struggle, then goddamn it, you don't deserve to win. Let me say peace to you if you're willing to fight for it. Let me say it in the spirit of liberation. I've been gone for a little while. At least my body's been gone. You ain't got to repeat after me. At least my body's been gone for a little while. But I'm back now, and I believe that I'm back to sleep. I believe that I'm going to do my job, and I believe that I was born not to die in a car wreck. I don't believe I'm going to die in a car wreck. I don't believe I'm going to die from slipping on a piece of ice. I don't believe I'm going to die because I got a bad heart. I don't believe I'm going to die because of lung cancer. I believe that I'm going to be able to die for the thing that I was born for. I believe that I'm going to be able to die high. die as a revolutionary in the international revolutionary proletarian struggle. And I hope that each one of you will be able to die in the international proletarian revolutionary struggle and then be living. And I think that struggle is going to come. Why don't you live for the people? Why don't you struggle for the people? Why don't you die for the people? I'm the deputy chairman of the state of Illinois Black Panther Party, Fred Hampton. And we say all power to all people. We say white power to white people. Brown power to brown people. Yellow power to yellow people. Black power to black people. X-power to those that we left out. We're not a racist organization because we understand that racism is an excuse used for capitalism. And we know that racism is just a byproduct of capitalism. Everything would be all right if everything was put back in the hands of the people. And we're going to have to put it back in the hands of the people.
People learn by example. I don't think anybody has doubted with that. I think that when Huey Newton said that people learn basically by observation and participation, I think that everybody caught on to that. So what we're saying very simply is that if they learn by observation and participation, that we need to do more acting than we need to do writing.
The only reason they get mad at the Black Panther Party when they do it is for the simple reason that we're political. And they don't want to admit that there are a lot of young organizations around, but we are a political organization. We're an organization that understands that politics is nothing but war without bloodshed, and war is nothing but politics with bloodshed. We're gonna have to do more than talk. We're gonna have to do more than listen. We're gonna even have to do more than learn. We're gonna have to start practicing, and that's very hard. Black people need some peace. White people need some peace. And we are going to have to fight. We're going to have to struggle. We're going to have to struggle relentlessly to bring about some peace. Because the people that we're asking for peace, they're a bunch of megalomaniac warmongers, and they don't even understand what peace means. We've got to fight them. We've got to struggle with them to make them understand what peace means. See, the thing is with me, you dig, I need to know some more about it. I wish you had some more leadership about the education thing. Because, you dig, as far as we're concerned in the struggle, the way we look at struggle is that this depends on the educational thing. So what we're talking about is there has to be an educational program. That's very important. As a matter of fact, it's so important for us that a person has to go through 6 weeks of our political education before he can consider himself a member of the party, able to even run down ideology for the party. Why? Because if they don't have an education, then they're nowhere. You dig what I'm saying? They're nowhere because they don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. You might get people caught up in the emotionalist movement. You understand me? You might get them caught up in because they're poor and they want something. And then if they're not educated, they want more, and before you know it, they'll be capitalist, and before you know it, we have Negro imperialism. Who are they programs kids for? You got Black Easter, you got Black Christmas, you got Black Round All Day, you got Black April Fool. Ain't here for nobody but black businessmen. And I say that anybody that comes into our community and does any type of situation that does not meet the needs of the masses, that I, Chairman President of the Black Panther Party, says that I catch that nigga by his collar neck and beat him to death with a Black Panther paper. We're going to have to move, and we got to move fast, we got to move hard, and we're going to have to move organized. So we always say in the Black Panther Party that they can do anything they want to us. We might not be back, I might be in jail, I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletarian. I am the people. I'm not the pig. You've got to make a distinction.
In a report made public in the summer of 1969, FBI Director Hoover declared the Black Panther Party the #1 threat to the internal security of the United States.
They came in our community just like a thief in the night, and they snatched Fred's life just like that. The only thing that this brother has done was to instill a sense of pride and dignity and self-determination in his people.
Is that you can't kill Chairman Fred. I know! What they didn't understand is that anyone who would try to kill him is and shall ever be an enemy of the people. And that whoever would do that can only be appropriately called not a person, but a pig. What they didn't understand when they did that is that pigs die, but Chairman Fred lives.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories.
Their leader, Pat Robertson, has written in a book a few years ago that we should have a world government, but only when the Messiah arrives. He wrote, and literally, any attempt to achieve world order before that time must be the work of the devil. Well, join me. I'm glad to sit here at the right hand of Satan.
So it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
Right, no wrong. You've got to have all religions represented, so, tolerant of everything, and because that's the new world order.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy.
9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists.
I'm calling on Congress to pass some very specific proposals right away.
A new world order.
President Bush signed a formal agreement that will end the United States as we know it. And he took the step without approval from either the U.S. Congress or the people of the United States.
First, we Americans are going to have to yield up some of our sovereignty. That's going to be, to many, a bitter pill.
And our work must begin now.
In this period, when really a new world order can be created.
And realizes what I believe is our destiny of success in this new world order.
And the President outlined his vision of a new world order in which the U.S. would participate fully, one rooted on 4 basic principles.
Non-proliferation and disarmament, the promotion of peace and security.
But what if you gain the whole world but lose your soul?
Mind sciences, or the study of human behavior in relation to the mind, is the newest of all the arts. It's less than 100 years old. And it is by far the one that is most cloaked in secrecy.
People say evolution is not a bad philosophy, but at the same time, it was Hitler's religion during the Third Reich in Germany.
Project Paperclip was a United States government-sanctioned CIA operation for the importation of Nazi and fascist scientists into the United States. Their statement was simply this: if we don't bring these people into this country and contain them, then our enemies, the Soviet Union, will get them. The first wave was to bring these scientists. There was 700-odd propulsion scientists, and then there were some 600 and some odd mind sciences people that they brought in. The CIA was given the responsibility of actually placing the individuals out of Project Paperclip into the military-industrial complex, including our colleges and universities. mind control was a psychological warfare weapon that Adolf Hitler regarded as the answer for taking over the entire planet.
You see, Adolf Hitler thought he would speed up the process by eliminating the inferiors. Hitler honestly thought he was doing the world a favor. So did Joseph Stalin.
The name for the mind control research in this country was MK-Ultra.
MK-Ultra was one program of a series of programs that came out of the CIA to experiment with different types of mind control, using drugs, using electroshock, using insulin shock, and other techniques.
I think that the goal for those people who planned the program was very straightforward. It was an attempt to figure out a way to interrogate people and to learn how to protect their own agents against control by others.
If a person believes something that is not true, the memory banks of the subconscious mind do not correct the error, but act on it. The theory of cognitive dissonance holds that the mind automatically and involuntarily rejects information not in line with previously accepted thoughts and beliefs.
The origins of psychological warfare were in Nazi Germany, and in the Nazi ideology they had something that was called Weltanschauungskrieg, which means worldview warfare. The idea for them was imposing the Nazi worldview on the countries that they had occupied. The Americans picked up this idea, created an American version of it, and called that psychological warfare.
Psychological warfare has been waged against America for much of this century. This war for the mind of the public has been facilitated by the emergence of mass media and the transformation of American education by behavioral psychologists.
But that's what we have. We send our kids like they're little missionaries. And what happens to the vast majority of children from good Christian homes? They go through 13 years of destructive, subtle, many times, but destructive influence.
In trying to understand psychological warfare and in trying to understand the American approach to the post-war efforts to control people's minds, both as individuals and on a mass scale.
So there's no denying.
Anybody can be put in a position of being open to brainwashing.
There's a lot of illusions about how that was done. Were Nazis involved in that process? Yes, they were.
Many of the things that people believe are never questioned, especially when the information has come from a reliable source.
I mean, God is against the law in public school.
It becomes easy to lose sight of why people believe some of the things that they do.
The theme of the public school environment is disrespect, immorality, selfishness, greediness. So academia is becoming irrelevant because we're losing our kids.
Wars are not won on the battlefield. They're won in the minds of the people.
And then we're surprised when they do drugs, or they have abortions, or they commit suicide, or they become homos, or they reject God. They rebel against their parents in a big way. And we're surprised, but that's what we gave them for 13 years. We spoon-fed them rebellion and wickedness. Spoon-fed them.
Information is fed into a computer, and the computer acts on it. However, if the information fed into the computer is wrong, it still acts on it.
Because dictators throughout time have used the evolutionary ideas to support their brutal tactics.
The most effective way to protect yourself from subconscious manipulation is by being aware of how it works. What the conscious mind believes, the subconscious acts on. It works like programming a computer.
But when I say that all public schools are bad, I have that on record. It is true because all public schools have a godless curriculum. A godless curriculum. And if you try to raise a nation, the children of a nation, on a godless curriculum, you will raise godless children. And they will no longer respect themselves, they won't respect their parents, the government, their teachers, and they will begin to self-destruct. And that's what we see happening. We have a godless education system, and we're raising godless children. What does that teach kids? Condoms are not against the law in public school, right? Homos are okay, but Jesus is not.
In the book 1984, George Orwell warned that people were in danger of losing their human qualities and freedom of mind without being aware of it while it was happening because of psychological, emotional, and intellectual manipulation.
This was a post-Nazi program, if you will. It was an Americanization.
I've often made the statement, and I still make it flippantly. The Nazis didn't lose the war. They just had to move.
Now it's 50 years later. Now they're much more clever, much more sophisticated. They have a lot more money to spend.
I mean, only a fool can deny that that has an incredible, incalculable, destructive influence on children.